We're joined now by Rob Ford, Professor of Political Science at the University of Manchester. Rob, good to get your thoughts today on this exclusive poll for Sky News and YouGov. What do you make of it? What does it reveal to you?
It's a remarkable piece of polling, I have to say. I mean, the first message which came through in Sam's piece just there is that this is the end of Labour's dominance of London. It certainly looks that way. A 16-point drop in their vote share across the entire capital. But it's not really clear who emerges instead. There's no one party with a clear lead across London anymore. It's an incredibly fragmented capital city. And when you look into the details of YouGov's estimates in the individual boroughs, what you see time and time and time again is two parties, sometimes three parties, sometimes even four parties, all very close to each other in terms of their estimated vote across the whole borough. And that is going to make for very chaotic, very volatile electoral contests, because you've got three or four parties duking it out in a system that is winner takes all. So very fine margins could decide lots and lots of seats, and one party could sweep into power with a relatively narrow margin over all the other parties, which means that it won't necessarily, the results may not necessarily reflect the degree of fragmentation we're seeing in this polling, because the electoral system can have its say on this as well. And our electoral system is not well designed to cope with this kind of fragmentation.
And in terms of Labour losses, Reform and the right are looking at potentially taking some of those. Greens potentially taking some other ones. Does this show us perhaps that we're seeing a greater polarisation of politics in the capital and across the country?
Yes, we are. I mean, the second biggest headline in this, I think, is the extraordinarily high share of vote for the Greens, because they've never held a London borough before. But you are also seeing Reform making inroads.
Is this a effect, do you think?
Well, I mean, he is a Londoner. Well, not by birth, but by current residence. He's a Hackney boy, I believe. So I do think that's making an effect. We've seen that in the polling since he became leader last autumn. The Greens are up an awful long way. And some of the boroughs where we're seeing this YouGov poll saying the Greens doing particularly well are boroughs where the kinds of voters who are particularly excited by Polanski's approach to politics cluster together in very large numbers. So I do think there is a bit of a Polanski effect there. I mean, Reform are also making inroads in the parts of the capital that lean their way a little bit, and it's a big problem potentially for the Conservatives. But one of the surprises in this poll for me actually was how well the Conservatives were holding up, relatively speaking, in their remaining strongholds in the capital. I mean, we saw the Reform absolutely sweep them away last May. It does look like in parts of the capital that have traditionally been very blue, Reform may have a bit of a tougher task in terms of unseating entrenched Conservative councils.
When we look at normal local elections, people tend to vote differently. They can vote differently for local elections than they do nationally. You can't always extrapolate what a local election result is onto a national picture when it comes to a national election. But do you think these elections are going to be different? Are they going to tell us more about a potential general election result than previously?
I think these particular London contests probably not, because London is different to the rest of the country and local elections are different to Westminster elections. But they do have important implications for general elections in a different way. We are living through a period of extraordinarily rapid change in the party system. And what victories for insurgent parties like the Greens, like Reform, in local contests in London boroughs signal to voters is this is a credible party in your patch now. So if you're a voter in Hackney or in Lewisham and the Greens are winning seats hand over fist in the local elections, that says to you, if you want a Green MP next time, that's a credible option now. If you're in a Reform-leaning borough out on the outer edge of London, you can think, well, now Reform are a credible option now. So what it changes is the equation for voters when they're trying to figure out, as many voters will be at the next general election, who's actually in the running in my patch, who can actually win here. Strong results in local elections are really valuable to parties for achieving that degree of credibility with voters.
Is it narrowing the choice for voters as well, you know, in terms of the multi-party options that are available? If it does become more and more polarised when it comes to the actual election, are people going to have fewer options because they're just going to see the two biggest parties in their area?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And this is one of the reasons why I expect we will get some very, very messy ward-level results in these London elections. If this MRP poll is at all accurate, you'll see wards where you have 3 or 4 parties each getting 20, 25% of the vote, and that's going to look awfully messy. But voters respond to that. So if you are one of the top parties that emerges as one of the top 2, then the squeeze is on. You can say basically you don't want to vote for the parties below us. They're basically just splitters. We're the only ones who can win here. So what we may see is a kind of interim stage in a process of moving to a bunch of new kind of 2-party competitions. We'll see a lot of places that fragment this time, but then next time voters will say, okay, I don't really want to end up with my worst choice winning. So I need to vote tactically for the best placed party to stop that worst choice. And they'll know from these results who that is. But right now, because so much has changed since 2022, when these London councils were last up, a lot of voters just simply cannot know who's the strongest parties locally here. They're not going to find out until the ballot boxes are open in May.
It's a fascinating few weeks ahead. Rob Ford, Professor of Political Science at the University of Manchester, thanks very much.